Hello everyone and welcome to this month's Ask Me Anything session. As perhaps you're aware, my name is Antoni. I am one of the co-founders of Nexo and a managing partner, a title which I bear with some pride. Now, luckily, this month's Ask Me Anything session was not last week. It would have been postponed to this week either way due to the market volatility, which has subsided somewhat and permits us to spend an hour talking, catching up via the questions that you have sent. Today we're kicking things off not with the highest rated question, but one which would have been the highest rated question had we not announced it just an hour ago. For the more active amongst you, you know that we send out an email with regards to the governance vote and some of the details of how we envision that unfolding. So I'm going to address that first. The question itself is governance vote has said soon on it now for months. Can we please have a date for this or some information of interest? I already predict you'll glance at the PR team. There is no PR team in the room right now, only me and the camera. Ignore them and spill the beans. And the spilling the beans we did. We send out all the details that are known to date. The most important part to remember is that at this stage, this is a proposal, which means that until it is voted in, it is just that, a proposal. And essentially, in a nutshell, what it offers or suggests that we put to vote is the notion of having daily payouts of interest on the Nexo token up to 12% a year for the highest tier, and for those locking those up. And this comes due to very popular demand by the community, and we thought it fitting to put it out to vote for the first pilot vote. Now, obviously, this contradicts it's in contradiction with the dividend system. So it is either going to be daily payouts of up to 12% annually on the Nexo tokens, or the current system where we are sharing 30% of Nexo's profits, as you know and have experienced a couple of times so far, not less frequent than once a year. And it was suggested that it's better to just pay out interest as we do on the other assets, and this is what we're putting up to vote. Now, obviously, as with anything in life, there are pros and cons. There is a very, very dynamic discussion going on the Reddit channel. I encourage you to read some of the cons and pros. The moderators are going to moderate the conversation. In other words, where somebody is off with their math or making implications and assumptions which were wrong, we're going to help straighten the record so that you have the full picture. The vote itself is on the 7th of June, if I'm not mistaken. We had to push it back a little bit because of last week's volatility, but I think it was June 7th. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. So there is some time to wrap your head around it. I personally think it's better to receive daily interest payouts because of the predictability, because it puts all the assets in to the same basket and bracket. And a caveat which we had to discuss internally, and I was quite in favor of: collateral, Nexo tokens that are staked as collateral will also be earning interest. So, this is a great perk. This is my personal view. Obviously, some people are saying, if Nexo starts bringing in, hundreds of millions, and, let's hope that happens, of profits, we're better off with, with just the dividend system. While this is true, you know, the dynamics, they change quite frequently, dramatically, drastically, and we might not have total control over that. You know, there are marketing expenses, there are all sorts of expenses which you have to cover in regardless of how high the revenue is and the growth strategy. So, you know, 12% a year paid out daily is transparency at its finest, predictability. But again, this is up to you guys and whatever you decide. With that, I think we got the basics covered. Again, there's a great discussion on the different social media channels. Do join it, do read all the cons and the pros. Make sure you also read the blog post. We spent quite a bit of time composing it, making sure that everything is answered. We're gonna fill it in with if we see something missing. You know, out of the discussion, so that we provide the most clarity, and you know that the governance voting system is another step of the Nexo transparency, just like we had the Nexomonics, which is still playing out quite well. You know, we're doing the same things with regards to transparency to the enterprise. So, you know, read up, token up, and, you know, cast your vote so that you have your say on the way that we move forward with Nexo. And with that very, very short 7-minute rant on the governance token, let's move on to the next question, please. Why are the audit reports and regulatory licenses not out to the public yet? Been ages, asks Abishai. I hope I got the name right. Well, that's a very good question. This is step number 3. You know, we had the monthly Ask Me Anything sessions, which we are doing right now. We have the governance vote, which is unfolding as we speak, or starting to unfold as we speak, and then we need a little more time to prepare the page with the licenses. We promise we're going to put them up on the website. It's going to last a little longer. Ages is a bit vague of a term. You know, in crypto, I remember this joke when me and Kalin, the other co-founder who oversees, you know, corporate finance and all things finance, and we went to South Korea. And then like this person came up to us at the convention. He was like, you know, I'm a long-term holder of Nexo. I've been holding it for a week. So that was his definition of being a long-term holder, you know, holding on to an asset for a week. I know in crypto everything should be instant and right now. So everything apart from a few hours appears to be ages. But these are serious endeavors and we want to make sure we have every angle covered. This with regard to the licenses, so a little longer on that. And the audit reports, I know, but trust me, nobody wants audited financials more than I do, and the management and the team does, because this is very, very important for us for a variety of different reasons. It is with regards to possible acquisitions of and mergers of other companies, or purchase of and merge with potential other companies and targets. Is important to some regulators for certain aspects, important for the banking license, is important for just about anything. So it's not like we're holding back. We're working on the audited financials and the audited reports as we speak, and have been doing so for a while, but they are ultimately things that are not dependent on the Nexo team and its desire to have them, but rather on third parties, external auditors, etc., which precludes me from giving you an exact ETA, but rest assured we're working on that non-stop. Next question, please. And they took away my metal Nexo branded bottle. Apparently I make a lot of noise when I'm sipping, so let's see if it's better with a glass. When is the Visa, Nexo Visa coming out in Europe? Asks Patata. Yeah, well, for Europe it's the Nexo MasterCard, but I'm presuming he's asking about the card in general. You know, we shipped the first batch, I think it was towards the end of December or early January. I have short-term memory loss, which is now evolving into mid-term memory loss. Just kidding here, I'm doing good. But with regards to the card, any minute now, we are, stress testing against some of the things that we saw from the rollout, and we're working on that. I don't quite have an exact ETA here, but it is imminent. Not much to add since last month's session, but we're working on it. And again, as with the audited financials and just about any development that brings in new business at Nexo, nobody wants this more than I do. Next question. Okay, that's a longish one. Savvy asks, Nexo Exchange hidden fees or very high spreads? Okay, I'm missing a verb here, but regardless, fact is Nexo Exchange rates are worst across all exchanges. I disagree. Up to 3% extra on each way. It is well-known fact across the community, and we're not happy about it. Nexo needs to fix this, please. Well, first of all, we definitely don't have the worst terms in the industry. Quite the opposite. We have a very efficient system. It's called the smart ordering SORA, so it's smart ordering routing automation system. I don't know, I got the abbreviation wrong, but regardless, it is a smart system which monitors the liquidity on the different exchanges and the different trading desks. It is very efficient, much better when you are trading off just one exchange. Regardless of how liquid it is, there might be situations that there's better liquidity or better pricing available on different exchanges or on a different exchange. So we have this system which monitors all of them, plus some of the larger OTC desks for the larger blocks. And we do think that it is one of the most efficient systems out there. Now, I presume what Savvy is referring to is last week's liquidity crunch, which happened on Wednesday and lasted, quite frankly, until Sunday. And on Monday, some of the liquidity was restored, or we had better liquidity and tighter spreads. But this is not something that comes from us. It comes from the reality of the markets as they stand. And in downturns, liquidity is always very, very thin. So what you get is what you see. To quote, I'm not going to even say who I'm quoting, but it is not something that is really up to us in extreme market volatility. Yes, spreads tend to widen, and we were monitoring the situation, and I can tell you it was much, much worse than for larger block trades, what we saw on the OTC desk, that what ultimately the retail saw on Nexo Exchange, and they, the spreads have tightened already up to the point that where I think we on par with the most, the most efficient of pricing mechanisms as they currently stand. Next question, please. I read about a case where Nexo user was completely liquidated due to a technical discrepancy on your part because he could not make a repayment. How do you protect clients? Do you pay back their assets? Asks Robert. Okay, let's unbundle this because there's quite a lot to be unbundled. Now, first off, Nexo is one of the few companies that issues price-based margin calls, and one of the very few lenders in the space that actually has a working liquidation software mechanism. And we're quite proud of that because, as I've explained time and again, and there is a wonderful post which you can read on our Medium page and on the Nexo homepage on why liquidation are necessary and how they provide protection to all of us. It goes into great detail of listing what we do differently from competitors and why this is important and why this is the only working mechanism which protects both the people who have taken out loans on the Nexo platform and also the people who are utilizing our earned interest. We have to balance out the interests of both, and in order to do that, and in order not to be taking directional bets on crypto and Bitcoin in general, we have to have this mechanism in place. Now, this unfortunately comes with liquidations at times of extreme market volatility, as last week. Luckily, they're getting more rarer as crypto matures and Bitcoin's volatility is on a downward trend, or generally in a downward trend. There's always spikes, but that's true with all sorts of volatility. Let me tell you this as a former trader of Wall Street products. It gets quite volatile and volatility tends to cluster. The point being that we don't like liquidations. This is the worst because it at least temporarily shrinks the next loan book. So we are not enjoying it. We are not taking anyone's collateral and holding it on our own balance sheet. This is a trademark of other lenders in the space. You can do your own research and see how anyone else is faring. And whom liquidity or illiquidity rumors are circling. Definitely not us, it's the other guys. It's those who instead of $700 send you 700 BTC and then try and press you to return those. We think that we have the model that protects best the interest of the clients. If somebody got liquidated in a manner and for reasons other than the value of their collateral depreciating rapidly and below certain thresholds which pose risk to Nexo as an enterprise, and the other side of the book, which is the earned interest clients. For any liquidations apart from these legitimate reasons, if there was a problem with depositing or they made a transfer and there were the confirmations, but it wasn't reflected in the system. If the fault is on our end, they should reach out to support, and of course we will make this person whole. We have done that in the past. It happens every now and then. This is software, it's automated, but even the most sophisticated of softwares, or perhaps even exactly the most sophisticated softwares, are occasionally prone to making mistakes. We are not beyond admitting mistakes when we make such, and everyone who feels they were unrightfully liquidated, they should reach out to support and they will have their particular case sorted out. I don't know which case this is referring to, but if it is a legitimate case, because we have competitors pretending to be users and trying to spread horror stories, etc. If it's a legit case and this person was wrongly liquidated, we will make this person whole, as we have done time and again in the past. This is I don't know which cycle of liquidations, a market volatility, perhaps 7th or 8th. We've been through this before, and we usually try and resolve the matter to the satisfaction of the client. We want happy, recurring, and constant customers. We are not taking the prop book, of our clients. This is not the habit of Nexo. It's not what we are all about. It is different from what others do. I realize that, but we think this is the sustainable way without taking, any directional bets on which way crypto is going, because quite frankly, we're bullish, but we cannot know for sure, and we have to protect everybody around the Nexo enterprise. Next question. What about the possibility of doing an internship at Nexo? You told me during last AMA to ask this question next time. Looking forward to shape the future with you guys. Francesco, quite frankly, I don't have an answer for you. Shoot me an email directly. My email is my first name at nexo.io. I'm hoping that, people will not misuse that, but you could find out my email in different ways. So reach out to me. Nobody has told me if you reached out to somebody else on the PR team or wherever. So do shoot me over an email when we're trying to make this work. And yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that question. Nexomonics was super exciting for the community and something we look forward to. It seems to have died down a lot. Have you any plans for 3.0? Okay, I'm not gonna try and pronounce the name. Rajus, I don't know. Shoot me an email with how exactly this is pronounced, and preferably with a voice note so that I make sure I get the transcription and the pronunciation right. Great question. I mean, like, Nexomonics took us from 20 cents to $4, and people still aren't satisfied, and they always want more, and that's human nature, always wanting more. That's what ultimately brings us forward as a species. We are not done with Nexomonics, but there are cycles of activity, because whatever you guys are suggesting or we want to implement as a product, it takes a while for the engineering team to actually develop and put out on the platform. And so, there are these cycles of activity and behind the scenes working on other stuff, and when we're ready to announce something, we're going to do that. I think right now the governance vote is a big boost to the Nexo token. The way we are structuring the processes and the decision making within Nexo, giving you a greater part, is yet another incentive to own the token. With the card, there are more perks coming up. Quite frankly, we have done very well, even in this downtrend pullback that we saw last week, at least on a comparative basis compared to others, to put it simply. Members of the Nexo team were telling people that at $1, it is interesting to be watching the Nexo token. I'm going to be borrowing from CZ of Binance and adding non-financial advice, but we're at $1.40 something towards $2.50, so that's 100-something% increase just in the past day, 48-hour stops. So I think we're doing rather well. Obviously, we have much more for you in store if the first proposal passes, and there's also daily interest on Nexo tokens, and not only Nexo tokens that you're holding in your savings wallet, but also those that are stacked for securing your loan. This is a great boost, and we're nowhere near with the Nexomonics 2.0, so we're not thinking of 3.0, because we are in the midst of this current round, and I do believe we have quite something in store for you. Will it be possible to pay using balance with the card, no credit? Yes, it's going to be possible. This is going to come slightly later from the card launch. At least last time I checked with the engineers, it was the case. It might have been pushed closer to the beginning. I have to double check. But since, let's see the second part of the question. If no, when will you add this? Or yeah, okay, well, we are adding this as soon as we can. We, have embarked upon this journey to provide you guys with a 360 degrees type of solution, so that we cater around all of your needs, regardless of what they are and what they are looking like. Pardon me. So yeah, this is definitely going to be possible, if not with the launch of the card, and very shortly afterwards. It is something that I personally am very excited about and look forward to using. So you got me on your side, pushing the product team to make this happen. Next question. Any progress on the banking license since the last update? No, I don't have anything to update you with. Short and honest answer. As soon as we can, we will be providing you with more, but nothing really to add since last time. Next question. Could you give us year-over-year growth percentage numbers or best approximations for number one, Nexo assets under management after normalizing for changes in price for underlying coins? Okay, let's address number one and then we go to number two and number three. Not sure what this person means. Assets under management, they are, you know, it's not like the old days of the banking where it's something you put on the balance sheet and regardless of the changes, you just pick the number that you had previously. This is market-to-market accounting techniques. So assets under management are always tied to the current value of the assets that are entrusted to us. So as you know, before last week's crash, we were around 15 billion. Obviously, we came down somewhat with the correction. We're now up again. I don't have the exact numbers. Quite frankly, my priorities have been elsewhere. Making sure you guys get the best possible treatment with regards to structuring your finances. I haven't looked into that. You know, on a year basis, I remember that last March when we had the crash, we were like closer to 1 billion, so it's a 15x, that's 1,500% if I got my math right here. But normalizing for changes, like you mean pure number of, if we're talking about Bitcoin and Bitcoin, I don't have the statistic, quite frankly. I don't see how that is of any use with regards to extrapolating the overall condition of the next enterprise. If you are, you know, I don't know what precisely is meant by that. I mean, like assets under management are priced market to market, so this is like the number that we're having. Second part, number of users with balances higher than 1,000. I have to double check. You know, registered users are above 1.5 million. I don't have an exact number for users with at least $1,000, but these are substantial numbers, and quite frankly, the most substantial numbers from any lender. That much I can promise you, because everybody else, they pivoted towards larger institutions, whales, etc., and they left the retail for us. And like, if you are holding that, you're more likely with us than anyone else. So as large as the retail is, I don't have the exact number. And then number three, volume of loans processed. Volume of loans processed is in the double-digit billions. Outstanding loans, I don't have them. They tend to vary from day to day and week to week. This again, like, you know, the day has only 24 hours, and you have to be very careful where you allocate your energies and what you allocate those energies to. And I think we're better served in developing new products, making sure you guys are covered, than looking at those statistics. But the numbers are quite impressive, that much I can promise you. Next question. How will Nexo afford the new 12% interest on Nexo Tokens? Will you generate this yield elsewhere, or will you eat this cost? Same person who asked this. We are profitable. We have different revenue streams up to the point where we feel comfortable with these rates that we are currently proposing, it is no different than, you know, taking 30% of the profits and distributing them to the Nexo token holders. We think that this is more inclusive, that it offers greater transparency and predictability. And from where we stand, we've done the calculations internally and with the current revenue streams, which we have gone over at length at previous sessions and interviews that I've done. Feel confident that we will be in a position to offer that and be in a position to afford that. So quite frankly, this is one of the ways of giving back to the community. It's no different than what different companies are doing, you know, with whether it's token repurchases, whether it's the burn mechanism, or you know, stock buybacks in more traditional companies and markets. It's no different. It is ultimately from the revenue streams that the company has, and we're very confident that we will be in a position to afford those rates for the foreseeable future. If daily interest replaces dividends as the result of the governance vote, does it mean that Nexo is no more a security token and can be listed on more exchanges? Asks Joska. As always, a very intelligent question that comes from a serious Nexo token holder, supporter, investor, and fan, and a person that I've had a great time communicating in person with. Now, even though I am the managing partner in charge of legal and compliance, I will be very careful as to what I'm sharing here. It is contrary to popular belief that if you have an asset class which is a security or utility, it is so forever. That's a myth. You can be a security and then stop being a security, and you can be a utility token and then get classified as a security, depending on what the current activities are, what the infrastructure is, you know, what your financials incentives look like, etc. So we are working with the law firms that advise us on evaluating and assessing the situation here with regards to the status of the Nexo token, and we're hopeful that we will come to, or that they will come to, a conclusion which will be towards the latter suggestion of the question, Joska, and we will see even greater liquidity and ubiquity of the Nexo token among different platforms. But as you can sense from a way of phrasing things, we have to be careful how we tread in these waters, and no guarantees here, but we do think that there are aspects to be excited about what is going to happen to the Nexo token if the proposal and the governance vote passes as suggested. Next question. What happens to the Nexo tokens we hold if the company gets acquired or goes public? Asks Alex. I think we have addressed this previously. We are not in the process of being acquired. We have a very good and sustainable business model, which we like a lot, which is a rarity in today's world. So very happy to be in the position we are today. What I can assure you and promise you is that the Nexo token holders will always be taken care of, whether it's dividends, whether it's a daily interest being paid out, whether it's something else that you as a community and investors would like to see. We'll always try and have those implemented, and we'll always have your best interest at heart. So no worries on that front. We will take care of our supporters and investors. That's what we are considering the Nexo token holders to be, investors in this company, so you will be protected. Next question. What are the next crypto coins that you will add to the app? Asked Jep. This is another recurring question. I quite frankly don't know what the team is working on in terms of adding new coins and collaterals, but we are constantly working on that. So, stay tuned. We are working on the infrastructure to make that happen, and we'll make an announcement as soon as we have something to announce with that regard. Hello, Antoni. On the email this morning, they mentioned a final dividend distribution of $20,428,359.89. On the different platforms, the Nexo community calculated a higher dividend return per token. Could you please explain this number? Asks Dylan Ropero. Well, I do not know how the community could have known the exact financials. Nobody is privy to that apart from, the management of Nexo and the finance department, and they have to weigh in different factors, the revenue streams, the costs, both of the capital, marketing expenses, salaries, promotions, buybacks, a whole range of different factors. So it has always been clear that if Rasto is playing around with the numbers and making projections, these are precisely that, projections, and every Nexo token holder usually has a slightly over-optimistic perception of what is going on in any enterprise. It is, inherent to human nature, this mindset, and nothing wrong with that, and quite frankly, it's healthy in the sense that it gets you go through life and through your day just being optimistic, much better than being pessimistic. But these are just projections. Like, nobody until the very last moment knows exactly what the profit margins are going to be, from which we extrapolate what the dividend distribution is, and this is the number they came up with based on the accounting standards that Nexo adheres to. So this is the number as it is. I don't think there's a divergence of any sort. If anything, profitability sharing is not shared. Well, it is shared, is being shared, but what I meant is growing. So quite happy with the way we stand financially, and if 20 million is 30%, we're in a very good place, and it is what it is. Other companies tend to be, doing what the Federal Reserve is doing, helicopter money. We don't do that. This is the money that we have earned, and this is what we're sharing for you. Quite proud of the numbers. This, for me, this is a substantial number. Could it be higher? Could people hope for higher numbers? Yes, going forward, we hope we'll be even more profitable, but at the end of the day, nobody has a crystal ball and knows what the future holds, and certainly nobody outside of Nexo can make exact predictions with regards to the profitability of the company, and I do think that is a serious number and something that I and the team are very proud to have accomplished for you guys ultimately. Okay, a lot of governance vote questions. That's good. I like the dynamics here. If the Nexo governance vote is passed and interest is paid out instead of dividends, will customers from the US be able to buy Nexo tokens directly and receive their interest payout in Nexo? Asks an anonymous source, presumably not the SEC, and the Treasury Department, they don't react that swiftly. But kidding aside, it is the idea to make this available to US customers. There are usually some restrictions with regards to the great state of New York. Last but not least, because of the bit license system and the way generally things stand there. Now, whatever I tell you with regards to what is going to be available in the US is going to be a matter of some flexibility. It is going to be what the law firms that we retain there advise us to do, and this can be one thing today and another thing tomorrow. So please bear with us, be patient, and accept the changes as they occur. I am the most business friendly, legally minded person, and we have to make sure that in terms of compliance, we're on the safe side for you as customers, as investors, as people earning. So we don't want to do anything to jeopardize this position we currently are. And this will be put up on the website, and you can see, regardless of where exactly you are positioned, how it's going to affect you. But the general plan is to be to have this accessible to US clients as well. Hi Antoni, in the event of daily interest, I'm still gonna start over. Hi Antoni, in the event daily interest replaces dividends, wouldn't your token holder lose out on future potential growth of the Nexo company profits, as Nexo is considered a growth company in the crypto space? Your thoughts, please. Thank you. A concerned Nexo token holder since the ICO. Well, we have tried to take very good care of the Nexo token holders, and specifically those holding their assets from the token sale. One will think will have very little to worry about. The token sale was executed at around 10 cents. We're currently trading at $2.50, so you've had some spectacular returns. If the new changes, you feel they affect you in a bad way, you are still in a position to part with your Nexo tokens if those don't, augmentations don't fit into your time horizon. Now, this is the worst possible scenario, and you'll still be making a handsome profit. Not that I'm sending anyone away. I'm just like, if this has you so concerned, this is always an option. Now, the first part, wouldn't they miss out? No, they wouldn't be missing out, because you can have a growth, precisely in a growth company where you have great revenue, where you also have a lot of different expenses. Precisely during the growth phase, you tend to spend a lot of marketing, the team is growing, you might decide to name a arena in Miami after the company, and this could cost you $135 million. We don't have such immediate plans, but just throwing out examples out there. So you can have a great company, but to quote Batman here, with great revenue sometimes come great expenses. No, quite frankly, we are always the frugal type, but precisely during the growth phases, you tend to have a lot of expenditure. So it doesn't necessarily mean that with growing revenue, growing company, the profitability grows at the same pace or grows in the same way every year. There are fintech companies that are in growth phases and they don't see any profitability for years, sometimes even decades. So we have been profitable, we have been sharing this, but whether it's going to grow in the same way, I cannot predict. So it can be that you are better off with the daily interest being paid out. This would be my personal guess without having a crystal ball. I'll not be voting on this, but if I would, not having this sort of conflict of interest, I would be for daily interest. And the interest rates are flexible. They can go up, hopefully. They can go down theoretically, but there are different means by which to ensure a continued participation. Always in life there are cons and pros, pros and cons. Pros in this case, I hope I'm fairly certain will outweigh the cons. But it's not a one-sided argument. That's why we're putting it to vote, and ultimately we will do what the community tells us to do. And everyone who puts their trust and entrusts us with their funds will be taken care of to the best of our abilities, and it is going to be what you guys tell us to do. That's the end of it. Next question. During last Ask Me Anything section, you said that ADA implementation were really close. Do you have news about it? I don't. I have to speak to the team, but we probably are closer than we were last time. Next question. Any plans to increase the loan-to-value ratio of the Nexo token back to 25 in the near future? Ask JD. We are always looking to be increasing loan-to-value ratios for the asset classes we take on as collateral, and this is always also true for the Nexo token. We have to, experience quite frankly, we want volatility to go down a little more from the levels that it's currently at, and we had a very volatile week. That's why we brought it down in anticipation of that, because we were seeing some of the irrational exuberance on the market. So we preemptively took action, which quite frankly saved quite a few of our clients from liquidations. So we're going to bump it up as soon as we feel that liquidity is back to normal. And this is true not only for the Nexo token, but for every asset that got its loan-to-value ratio temporarily reduced. This is always good for business. We want people to be taking out and to have more outstanding loan, but we feel that we have to protect you guys from the market volatility, which we saw coming. So, not expecting anyone to thank us, but it was a wise move. Next question. Will the daily 12% payout in Nexo tokens be bought on the open market? It is going to come from a variety of different sources. This has to be carefully evaluated with regards to the corporate treasury management. Finance will have their say. Market conditions will be a factor. So it's going to come from different places. I cannot give you an exact formula with regards to how we are going to do this, but we're going to do this with the best interests of the Nexo token holders in mind, as we have always done. And one of the other things that we didn't get to discuss, but it's definitely on the blog post that we put out there, is the volatility around the dividend dates and speculation surrounding that. We think that the Nexo daily interest is going to take away some of the negative aspects of that. So another pro for the 12% interest payout. Some of the Nexo holders feel like the upcoming vote is an attempt at a hostile takeover. Can you give us reassurance that this is not the case, please? Ed, I have no idea how this thought came about. Not sure what you mean about a hostile takeover. Just evaluating the possibilities of what you could possibly mean. Like, it's ultimately up to the token holders to decide. This vote can pass, it can fail. We can go to a daily payout. We can stick with the current model. Nobody's pushing in any particular direction. I've expressed my views and I'm not going to even vote on this. This has been suggested by the community on numerous occasions during the past year. Yes, there are pros and cons, which everyone will evaluate to the best of their abilities. We'll try and have as transparent a discussion as possible to help you figure out the different aspects of it, and it's ultimately yours to say. So absolutely no hostile takeover. Hostile takeover means, like in the traditional sense, another company or a bunch of individuals trying to take hold of the company, and while there is some financial incentive behind the Nexo token, it is tied to how the Nexo enterprise is run. It does not involve the equity of the company, so I'm really not sure what you mean by hostile takeover, and definitely no such thing that I'm aware of. And if I'm not aware of this, it's very unlikely that this is a true feeling that you're having here. What can you share exclusively with the audience in terms of the Nexo roadmap progress? Are there plans for Nexo to use this platform to share unique insights such as performance statistics, loan data, and key company milestones and updates? Hi Turtleneck asks this question. I think we got most of this covered. The roadmap, we've been over this. The way we're executing upon it, we're trying to comment on that as we go along. The milestones, we usually share it with you. The performance statistics, pardon me. The performance statistics have been, addressed during this question to the best of my abilities. The emphasis of the past week and the efforts were dedicated to other things. Maybe we can share a little more next time, but I think there has been plenty to go about during this session, and we can go about and figure out other things to discuss and other aspects during the next month's one. Will there ever be a metal type card that people can apply for, not just the generic plastic one? What's the latest on the implementation of licenses on the website? Apart from the metal type, which is something that we're working on and will definitely have, I think everything else was addressed. The metal cards are great, but like with different wallet solutions, whether it's Apple Pay or Android, I think like physical cards are going to be obsolete soon. So yeah, it's a nice, great thing to have in your pocket and show it off with to your friends, and I'll be proud to have it in your pocket. I think it's very little actual added value in having that, but yeah, it's a cool thing, and we will have it. Everything else I think we addressed, so we can go to the next question. Time is slowly running out as well, but a few more questions. With ERC20 costing a pretty penny, will Nexo have more different networks to send tokens to Nexo wallets such as Tron, EOS, to minimize fee costs? Asks Gary. Well, ERC has been the standard for quite some time now, and I quite frankly am bullish on Ethereum, and what their offering is going to be as soon as they have staking in place. So obviously the cost is quite large, and we have been experimenting with the different chains, but security comes first, and until the engineers say this is secure enough, we will not be transitioning from that. Costs have been coming down somewhat well, not last week, but before that, and with the move to proof of stake, they ought to drop dramatically as the carbon footprint. So these are all aspects we are excited about. Not happy with the way are, but I prefer a more expensive and secure transaction than something untested, especially for you guys. So until we have a nod from the engineering and security team that this is safe, we'll not be looking to transition here. I'm gonna sneeze, I think. No, I'm not. Okay, so we can move to the next question. Okay, by the looks of it, we are nearing the end. Did you manage to get any sleep last week? I imagine it was difficult with the baby girl around and the crazy market. Actually, the crazy market has more contribution to my sleeplessness, Jamie, than the baby girl. I actually have an amazing stress therapy. I have put her on my phone. I wanted to show you a picture, but so many notifications. So yeah, I mean, market was not helping a lot, but I had the little one, put it on my screen, and she's giving me motivation every day. Really enjoying parenthood. Volatility of the market is here to stay. We are accustomed to it. The engine and the software were running very smoothly. Liquidations were there, but not as dramatic as last March. The stress levels as well, not as dramatic, like having a 50+% drop like we had last year. So, some sleepless nights, but I, caught up on that on the weekend. So thank you for asking for my personal well-being. I hope all of you guys are, recovering slowly but surely. The market has been helping some. Hopefully we're out of the woods. Don't use too much leverage. All the problems come from too much leverage. I hope this was informative, and stick around for the next session next month, or come around more precisely. We'll be happy to do another round. Until then, be safe, take care of your needs, whether they're with regards to crypto or your personal health. Do not neglect that precisely during market volatility, and I'll see you around. Thank you so much, guys, for this session and the questions. Hopefully we got most of them covered. Thank you. Bye-bye.